So Bhagavad Gita, okay, open. Bhagavad Gita. Sixth chapter. ध्यान योग। हरि ओम श्री परमात्मने नमः। अथ षष्ठोऽध्यायः। अनाश्रितः कर्मफलम् कार्यं कर्म करोति यः स सन्न्यासी च योगी च न निरग्निर्न चक्रियः। यं सन्न्यासम् इति प्राह योगं तं विद्धि पाण्डव। न सन्न्यस्य संकल्पो योगी भवति कश्चन। आरुरुक्षमुनेर्योगं कर्म कारणमुच्यते। योगारूढस्य दस्येन शमः कारणमुच्यते। यदा हीनेन्द्रियार्थेषु न कर्मस्वमनुषज्यते सर्वसङ्कल्पसन्न्यासी योगारूढस्तदोच्यते। उत्तरेदात्मानमात्मानं नात्मानम् अवसादयेत्। आत्मैव यात्मनो बन्धु आत्मैव रिपुरात्मनः। बन्धुरात्मात्मनस्तस्य येनात्मैवात्मना जितः। अनात्मनस्तु शत्रुत्वे वर्तेतात्मैव शत्रुवत्। जितात्मनः प्रशान्तस्य परमात्मा समाहितः। शीतोष्णसुखदुःखेषु तथा मानापमानयोः। ज्ञानविज्ञानतृप्तात्मा कूटस्थो विजितेन्द्रियः। युक्त इत्युच्यते योगी समलोष्टाश्मकाञ्चनः। सृहन्मित्रानुदासीन मध्यस्त्वद्वेष्वबन्धुषु साधुष्वपि च भावेषु समबुद्धिर्विशिष्यते। योगी युञ्जीत सततम् आत्मानं रहसि स्थितः। एकाकी एकचित्तात्मा एकाकी यतचित्तात्मा निराशीरपरिग्रहः। शुचो देशे प्रतिष्ठाप्य स्थिरम् आसनमात्मनः। नात्युच्छ्रितं नातिनीचं चैलाजिनकुशोत्तरम्। तत्तेकाग्रं मनः कृत्वा यतचित्तेन्द्रियक्रिय उपविश्यासने युञ्जात्। योग आत्मा शुद्धये समं कायशिरो गृह्यं धारयन्नचलं स्थिरः। तं प्रेक्ष्य नासिकाग्रं स्वं दिशश्चानवलोकयन्। प्रशान्तात्मा विगतभिः ब्रह्मचारीवते स्थितः। मनः संयम्य मच्चित्तो युक्त आसीत् मत्परः। युञ्जन्नेवं सदात्मानं योगी नियतमानसः। शान्तिं निर्वाणं परमां संस्थामधिगच्छति। नात्यश्नतस्तु योगोऽस्ति न चैकान्तिकमश्नतः। न चातिस्वप्नशीलस्य जागृतो नैव चार्जुन। युक्ताहारविहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः। यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा। यदा दीपो निवातस्थो निगति सोमपास्मता योगिनो यत चित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः यत्रो परमते चित्तं निरुद्धं योगसेवया यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन्यात्मनि तुष्यति। सुखमात्यन्तिकं यत् बुद्धिग्राह्यमतीन्द्रियं वेत्ति यत्र न चैवायं तच्चलति तत्त्वतः यं लब्ध्वा चापरं लाभं मन्यते नाधिकं ततः यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचाल्यते तं विद्या दुःखसंयोग योगं योगसन्निधं स निश्चयेन योक्तव्यो योगो निर्विण्णचेतसा सङ्कल्पप्रभवान् कामान् त्यक्ता सर्वान् शेषतः मनसेवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः शनैः शनैरुपरमे बुद्ध्या दधिगृहीतया आत्मसंस्थं मनः कृत्वा न किञ्चिदपि चिन्तयेत् यतो यतो निश्चलति मनश्चञ्चलमस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्येतत् आत्मन्येव वशं नयेत् प्रशान्तमनसं येनं योगिनं सुखमुत्तमम् अपैति शान्तरजतं ब्रह्मभूतम् अकल्मषम् युञ्जनेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगतकल्मषम् सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम् अत्यन्तं सुखमश्नुते सर्वभूतस्थमात्मानं सर्वभूतानि चात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न प्रणश्यति सर्वभूतस्थितं यो मां पश्यति तत्त्वमाथितः सर्वथा वर्तमानोऽपि स योगी मयि वर्तते आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति योजना सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः अर्जुन उवाच योऽयं योगस्त्वया प्रोक्तः साम्येन मधुसूदन एतस्याहं न पश्यामि चञ्चलत्वा स्थितिं स्थिराम् चञ्चलं हि मनः कृष्ण प्रमादे बलवन्दनं तस्याहं विग्रहं मन्ये वायोरेव सुदुष्करम् श्रीभगवान् उवाच असंशयं महाबाहो मनो दुर्निग्रहं चलम् अभ्यासेन तु कौन्तेय वैराग्येन च गृह्यते असंयतात्मना योगो दुष्प्राप इति मे मतिः वशात्मना तु यतता शक्यो वाप्तुम् उपायतः अर्जुन उवाच अयति सद्वयमपेतो योगाच्चलितमानस अप्राप्य योगसंसिद्धिं काङ्क्षतीं कृष्ण गच्छति कच्छिन्नो वयविभ्रष्ट छिन्नाभ्रमिव नश्यति अप्रदिष्टो महाभावो विमूढो ब्रह्मणः एतन्मे संशयं कृष्ण चेत्तुमर्हस्य शेषतः तदन्यः संशयस्यास्य चित्ता नोपपद्यते श्रीभगवान् उवाच पार्थ नैव नामुत्र विनाशस्तस्य विद्यते न हि कल्याणकृत् कश्चित् दुर्गतिं तात गच्छति प्राप्य पुण्यकृतां लोकान् उषित्वा शाश्वती समः शुचीनां श्रीमतां गीहे योगभ्रष्टो विजायते अथवा योगिनामेव कुले भवति धीमताम् एतद्धि दुर्लभतरं लोके जन्म यदीदृशम् तत्र तं बुद्धिसंयोगं लभते पौर्वदेहिकम् यतते च ततो भूय संसिद्धो कुरु नन्दन पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनेव ह्रियते यवशोभिसः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्माति वर्तते प्रयत्नाद्यतमानस्तु योगी संशुद्धकिल्बिषः अनेकजन्म संसिद्धिः ततो याति परां गतिम् तपस्विभ्यो तपस्विभ्योऽधिको योगी ज्ञानिभ्योऽपि मतोऽधिकः कर्मिभ्यश्चाधिको योगी तस्माद् योगी भवार्जुन योगिनामपि सर्वेषां मद्गतीनन्तरात्मना श्रद्धावान् भजति यो मां समे युक्ततमो मतः। ओम तत्सदिति। श्रीमद्भगवद्गीतासु उपनिषत्सु ब्रह्म विद्यायां योगशास्त्रे श्रीकृष्णार्जुनसंवादे आत्मसंयोग योगो नाम षष्ठोऽध्यायः। हरिः ओम्। हरे कृष्ण। ओके, आपके दो दो लॉगिन कैसे दिख रहे हैं? निमाय राजेंद्र प्रभु, अश्विनी जमादार के नाम से आपका क्यों नाम है?
एक नहीं, एक ही है प्रभु जी मेरा लॉगिन। यहाँ तो मुझे एक ही दिखा रहा है प्रभु
ठीक है,
जी।
मुझे आई थिंक दिखा रहा था वो, आई थिंक उसका
शायद
रिफ्रेश नहीं।
नेटवर्क की वजह से होगा।
हम्म। 6.17 हो चुका है ना? 6.16 6.17। अष्टांग योगा का जो प्रैक्टिस है उसमें हम हैं। अष्टांग योगा 17, इस चैप्टर में क्या सेक्शन है? पहले आरुरुक्ष, आरुद्ध, आरुक्ष टू आरुद्ध, आरुरुढ़ स्टेज। फिर अष्टांग योगा की प्रैक्टिस कैसे करनी है, उनकी स्टेजेस क्या है। तभी हम सेकंड स्टेज में, फिर थर्ड स्टेज आता था मन को कंट्रोल करना, द नेसेसिटी ऑफ कंट्रोलिंग द माइंड, एंड देन द डिस्ट्रिक्शन ऑफ द अनसक्सेसफुल योगी, and the Bhakti Yogi the topmost. So we are into the section practice of Ashtanga Yoga. So I told that for devotees also this is very important, because our chanting is nothing but a meditation. So we should be knowing how to do the meditation properly. So 17 we have covered. What are the recommendations for the Ashtanga Yogi? Deep diet, sleep regulation. युक्ताहार विहारस्य युक्तचेष्टस्य कर्मसु युक्तस्वप्नावबोधस्य योगो भवति दुःखः. That was a yoga we saw. Now next, 18 to 23, perfectional stages of the Ashtanga Yoga. Now what are the? One minute. What are the perfection stages of the Ashtanga Yoga? Eighteen. यदा विनियतं चित्तम् आत्मन्येवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त इत्युच्यते तदा. ओके, कौन पढ़ेगा?
आई थिंक मेरा ही network।
हाँ, बढ़िया.
यदा विनयतं चित्तात्मा यदा विनयतं चित्तात्मन् एवावतिष्ठते निःस्पृहः सर्वकामेभ्यो युक्त उच्यते तदा। When the yogi, by practice of yoga, disciplines his mental activities and becomes situated in transcendence, devoid of all material desires, he is said to be well established in yoga. But by his divine grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The activities of the yogi are distinguished from those of an ordinary person by his characteristic cessation from all kinds of material desires, of which sex is the chief. A perfect yogi is so well disciplined in the activities of the mind that he can no longer be disturbed by any kind of material desire. This perfectional stage can automatically be attained by persons in Krishna consciousness, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam, 9th Canto, 4th chapter, 18th to 20th verse. स वै मनः कृष्णपदारविन्दयोर् वचांसि वैकुण्ठ गुणानुवर्णने Karo Harer Mandira Marjanadishu Shrutim Chakarachuta Sad Kathodaye Mukundalingalaya Darshane Drusho Tatpritya Gatra Sparshe Anga Sangamam Dhyanam Chatatpada Saroj Saurabhe Srimad Tulasaya Rasanam Tad Arpite Padau Hare Kshetra Padanus Sarpane Shiro Rishikesha Padabhi Vandane Kamancha Dasyena tu Kamayaya Yathottama Shloka Janashraya Ratihi. King Amrisha first of all engaged his mind on the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. Then, one after another, he engaged his words in describing the transcendental qualities of the Lord, his hands in mopping the temple of the Lord, his ears in hearing of the activities of the Lord, his eyes in seeing the transcendental form of the Lord, his body in touching the bodies of the devotees, his sense of smell in smelling the scent of the lotus flowers offered to the Lord, his tongue in tasting the tulasi leaf offered at the lotus feet of the Lord, his legs in going to places of pilgrimage and the temple of the Lord, his head in offering obeisances unto the Lord, and his desires in executing the mission of the Lord. All these transcendental activities are quite befitting a pure devotee. This transcendental stage may be inexpressible subjectively by the followers of the impersonalist path, but it becomes very easy and practical for a person in Krishna consciousness, as is apparent in the above description of the engagements of Maharaj Ambarish. Unless the mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord by constant remembrance, such transcendental engagements are not practical. In the devotional service of the Lord, therefore, these prescribed activities are called archana, or engaging all the senses in the service of the Lord. The senses and the mind require engagements. Simple application is not practical. Therefore, for people in general, especially those who are not in the renounced order of life, transcendental engagement of the senses and the mind, as described above, is the perfect process for transcendental achievement, which is called yukta in the Bhagavad Gita.
What a classic purport Prabhupada has given. Very, very. Actually, Ambarish Maharaj is a very practical example. How every person can become pure devotee of Krishna by engaging the senses in service of Krishna. Whatever stages you are, I am reading one book of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, who has puja. So, how His Holiness Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he encourages each and every person to become the pure devotee without panicking that person, without panicking by that person. That is possible because Amrish is having all the money, he's having access to the ladies, but still he is considered the greatest devotee. Durvasa Muni is the greatest austere person. He is like naked living, coping living, ash, fasting for millions of days, but still he couldn't control the anger. Anger is very difficult to control. And the more you do austerity, more the anger will increase. That is the fact. We have to become the soft hearted. And when you serve such Vaishnavas, great souls, observe their quality, like Prabhupada also. His Gopal Krishna Maharaj, he personally served Prabhupada. You observe him, and therefore, by his example, even a neophyte person also get inspired to chant Hare Krishna. Neophyte person also is becoming inspired to become the devotee of Krishna. And then that person will get a more mercy. So, for in front of Krishna, we cannot do anything. What is the greatest austerity is to remember Krishna and also become humble in front of the great soul. That is the greatest austerity, which is very difficult to perform in Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga, what is the greatest austerity is to always remain together. Even the family people also are not ready to stay together. What does become other people who are not family members? They will anyway fight only. Family members, there is a blood relation, but still they don't want. Correct. So what does become other people? But that is possible by Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Like one Mataji, what is her name? She gave Prabhupada Tulsi Maharani na, to foreign countries, I think. Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, by the good service of this Mataji, Tulsi Maharani has reached the foreign countries. I forgot the name of that Mataji. Prabhupada writes in Chaitanya Charitamrita. So therefore, whatever we have, we should engage in service of Krishna. Whatever tomorrow is available, how you are hankering to engage that time in Krishna. Today His Holiness Bhaktivedanta Maharaj told that constantly you have to keep hearing. Of course, Maharaj focuses on sadhana. It is not that everybody can get up at 1 o'clock and then only he can become the pure devotee. But yet we have to take inspiration from him. What I was observing that, okay, you may get up at 4 o'clock, but whole day, what are you doing? That is also very important for ourselves. Trying to maximize the time for Krishna, whole day. Then Krishna will empower you. One cannot imitate the great soul immediately. When you become Krishna conscious, then naturally the austerity you will not feel. Like Maharaj told today, Nagi, after 15 years you should be able to bliss, to experience the bliss of Krishna consciousness, to experience the bliss of Krishna. That is possible, but we have to carefully what he says, we have to very carefully observe our chanting, take the necessary step. If you are sleeping in the chanting, walk and chant. He chants Gayatri also standing. Like 99% I saw the Gayatri, they sleep only. As soon as they close their eye, they are very tired. They are not, sleep is not done. So I am not saying that you or that person should be beaten if he's sleeping. No, that is possible. So be practical. Gayatri one should do by standing only. In Shastra, it is mentioned that you can do Gayatri by standing. The Brahmachari is supposed to do Gayatri by standing. So it is not that Gayatri has to be done standing, sitting, no, standing. Because there is no question of sleep when you are standing. Some people sleep while standing also. While chanting, they, while walking also sometimes they sleep. I have seen suddenly while walking also. Then they have to run and chant Hare Krishna. Hare. One person in Western country used to run Hare Krishna like that. He said, if I walk also I will fall. So he is an honest person. He is an honest person. Because the process is to hear the holy name. So, because Prabhupada has given practical example of Ambarish Maharaj, Swayam Mana Krishna Padaravindayo, worshipping the Krishna, serving the devotees, thinking of Krishna, chanting the holy name, serving prasad, worshipping deity, cleaning the temple. This is all Krishna conscious act, not Krishna conscious activity, but Krishna Katha, Krishna Bhakti. This is all Krishna Bhakti. Shall we go ahead? 19th shloka. These are the advanced stages of Ashtanga Yoga. Who is the next? After 5, 6, 7. Pratik Prabhu, late आया ना? बढ़िया. One
Yes,
number.
bro. So, sorry for the late time.
नहीं
Next
कोई issue.
19. यथादीपो निवातोस्थो निङ्गते सोमपास्मृतं योगिनो यत चित्तस्य युञ्जतो योगमात्मनः. As a lamp in a windless place does not waver, so the transcendentalist, whose mind is controlled, remained always steady in his meditation on the transcendental self. Purport. A truly Krishna conscious person, always absorbed in transcendence, in constant, undisturbed meditation on his worshipable Lord, is as steady as a lamp in a windless place.
Therefore, it is very difficult to practice renunciation in the age of Kali. Everywhere there is a hostile environment. And beyond that, most important, the mind is agitated because of the mode of passion. Background or surrounding matters a lot. The surrounding for a neophyte person. Gaur Kishodas Babaji Maharaj used to chant in the prostitute house or in the Smashan Bhumi. He is not affected. But we are all sadhakas. So therefore environment affects us. Not the purity, but we will be affected by the environment. Therefore here it is mentioned that if the mind is uncontrolled or controlled, then only like the lamp in a windless place is very good. So same way, if the mind is controlled, then he can remain in meditation. If his mind is not controlled, there is no question of meditation. It's drama only. One person I met, when I went to give a lecture, he said, I am doing meditation from last 20 years. But most of the people sleep during meditation when they close their eyes. But today in your class, we chanted the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra for 15 minutes, so I am feeling I am in great meditation. I was not in meditation only. He said, 99.2% closed eyes, they sleep. Therefore, according to yoga, you have to keep the eyes half open, not full open like this. Look toward the top tip head of the nose. In yoga, you have to keep your eyes half closed, not full closed, not full open. Okay. Therefore, when somebody sits on the chair for chanting, like committing suicide. And chair also you should sit in a proper. If you take that cushion, then although you are sitting on a chair, it is not sitting on a chair. These are all like Sucho Deshe Pratishtapya. Your asana should be little top for meditation. Now next, who is the 8? Ashwini Mataji.
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
2023. One at a time you can read.
Yes, Prabhuji. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 20 to 23. यत्र परमाते चित्तं निरुद्धम योगसेवयः यत्र चैवात्मनात्मानं पश्यन् आत्मनि तुष्यति सुखम् अत्यन्तिकं यत्तत् बुद्धिग्राह्यम् अतीन्द्रियं वेत्ति यत्र न चैवाप्यं स्थितश्चलति तत्त्वतः यं लब्ध्वा च परं लाभं मानयाते नादिकं तथा यस्मिन् स्थितो न दुःखेन गुरुणापि विचार्यते तं विद्यत् दुःख संयोग वियोगं योग समज्ञितम्. Translation: in the stage of perfection called trance or samadhi, one's mind is completely restrained from mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to relish and rejoice in the self. In that joyous state, one is situated in boundless transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken. Even in the midst of greatest difficulty, this indeed is actual freedom from all miseries arising from material contact. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. purport
Hmm.
is big, so should I read in like paragraph wise or continue with the reading?
नहीं, काफी बड़ा है, एक मिनट,
Yes.
एक लिख दे, आपने पहला पढ़ा ना अभी,
ट्रांसलेशन अभी रीड किया, purport स्टार्ट नहीं किया अभी.
translation, because 3 verses are there. Let's read, I will read the translation again.
Yes.
In the stage of perfection, okay. So you are talking about the yoga arudasya, the seva, the perfection, the yoga. That is called as a transa samadhi. One's mind is completely restrained from the material mental activities by practice of yoga. This perfection is characterized by one's ability to see the self by the pure mind and to selfish, to relish and rejoice transcendental happiness, realized through transcendental senses. Established thus, one never departs from the truth, and upon gaining this, he thinks there is no greater gain. Being situated in such a position, one is never shaken when in the midst of great difficulty. This indeed is the actual freedom from all sufferings arising from the material contact. Okay. So perfection is achieved in yoga by one's ability to control the mind, to see the self by pure mind and release the rejoice in the self. आत्मा में रमना, ये नॉर्मल लोगों के लिए बहुत मुश्किल है. अभी पहला पैराग्राफ पढ़िए आप.
Yes, Prabhuji. Purport. By practice of yoga, one becomes gradually detached from the material concepts. This is the primary characteristics of the yoga principle. And after this, one becomes situated in trance or samadhi, which means that the yogi realizes the super soul through transcendental mind and intelligence, without any of the misgivings of identifying the self with the super self. Yoga practice is more or less based on the principles of the Patanjali system. Some unauthorized commentators try to identify the individual soul with the super soul, and the monists think this is to be the liberation. But they do not understand the real purpose of the Patanjali system of yoga. There is an acceptance of the transcendental pleasure in the Patanjali system, but the monists do not accept this transcendental pleasure out of the fear of jeopardizing the theory of oneness. The duality of the knowledge and knower is not accepted by the non-dualist. But in this verse, transcendental pleasure, realized through transcendental senses, is accepted. And this is corroborated by Patanjali Muni, the famous exponent of the yoga system. The great sage declares in these Yoga Sutras 3.34, Purushartha Sunyanam Gunanam Prati प्रश्वः कैवल्यं स्वरूप प्रतिष्ठा व चिति शक्तिर इति.
Patanjali is not a normal person. Patanjali means what? Anjali, Patitam Anjali. एक सांप एक स्त्री के हाथों में गिरा था और वही उसका बच्चा संतान हो गया और उनका नाम पतंजलि मुनि हो गया. तो पतंजलि मुनि अनंत शेष का वन ऑफ द अवतार है, और स्पेसिफिक कारण के लिए हुआ था पतंजलि मुनि. Patanjali Muni says that meditation happens on the form of super soul, but the monist, they deny it. That is mentioned. Next paragraph. आप ही पढ़िए माताजी.
Yes, Prabhuji. This Siddhi Shakti or internal potency is transcendental. Purushartha means material religiosity, economic development, sense gratification, and at the end, the attempt to become one with the Supreme. This oneness with the Supreme is called Kaivalyam by the monist. But according to Patanjali, this Kaivalyam is an internal or transcendental potency by which the living entity becomes aware of this constitutional position. In the words of Lord Chaitanya, This state of affairs is called Chetodarpana Marjanam, or clearance of the impure mirror of the mind. This clearance is actually liberation, or Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam. The theory of Nirvana, also preliminary, corresponds with this principle. In the Bhagavatam 2.10.6, this is called Swarupena Vyavasthiti.
Vyavasthiti.
The Bhagavad Gita also confirms the situation in this verse.
So Nirvana means what? Not only impersonal Brahmajyoti. Nirvana means situating in your own self situation for serving the Lord. And Lord is unlimited. He can have unlimited devotees, unlimited this, and unlimited programs. Because he wants to reciprocate with his own devotees. So therefore liberation, mukti or nirvana means what? Sarupena Vyavasthiti. Situate yourself in own situation. Next. After nirvana.
After nirvana or material cessations, there is the manifestation of the spiritual activities or devotional service to the Lord, known as Krishna Consciousness. In the words of the Bhagavatam, Swarupena Vyavasthiti, this is the real life of the living entity. Maya or illusion is the condition of spiritual life, contaminated by material infection. Liberation from the material infection does not mean destruction of the original eternal position of the living entity. Patanjali also accepts this by his words, Kaivalyam Swarupena Pratistha Swa Chiti Shaktir iti. This Chiti Shakti or transcendental pleasure is real life. This is confirmed in the Vedanta Sutra 1.1.12 as Anandamayo Bhashyat. This natural transcendental pleasure is the ultimate goal of yoga and is easily achieved by execution of the devotional service or Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga will be vividly described in the 7th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita.
Liberation from the material infection does not mean the destruction of the original external eternal position as a living entity. Like Mayavadi says, अगर आपको प्रॉब्लम है ना आँख की फोड़ डालो वैसा है कि आपको रूप से इशू आ रहा है ना तो ठीक है रूप है ही नहीं भगवान अरे भगवान का रूप निर्गुण रूप भौतिक गुणों से परे है निराकार मतलब भौतिक आकार नहीं है सच्चिदानंद आकार है ये जल्दी से समझता नहीं नेक्स्ट
In the yoga system, as described in this chapter, there are two kinds of samadhi called what is that, Prabhuji? Samprajnata samadhi. Samprajnata samadhi and Samprajnata samadhi, where one becomes situated in the transcendental position by various philosophical researchers. He is said to have achieved Samprajnata samadhi. In the Asamprajnata samadhi, there is no longer any connection with mundane pleasure. For one in then transcendental to all sorts of happiness derived from the senses. When the yogi is once situated in the transcendental position, he is never shaken from it. Unless the yogi is able to reach this position, he is unsuccessful. Today, so-called yoga practice, which involves various sense pleasures, is contradictory. A yogi indulging in sex and intoxication is a mockery. Even those yogis who are attracted by the siddhis, perfections, in the process of yoga are not perfectly situated. If yogis are attracted by the byproducts of the yoga, then they cannot attain the stage of perfection, as it is stated in this verse. Persons, therefore, indulging in the makeshift practice of gymnasts, feats, or siddhis should know that the aim of yoga is lost in that way. Prabhuji, you are on mute.
तो जो आप म्यूट पे हो, आवाज नहीं आ रहा है।
आवाज
तो ये संप्राज्ञ का समझ गया ना आपको? When one becomes situated in the transcendent position by various philosophical researches, he is said to achieve Samprajnita Samadhi. Samadhi, there is no longer any connection with the mundane pleasure, for one is then transcendent in all sorts of happiness derived from the senses. When yogi is once situated in the transcendent position, he is never shaken from the. So that is called as actually prema. Because only on a prema platform, only one person will not fall down. Even Bharat Maharaj also, he fell down. He was on bhava level. But from prema, one cannot. So, according to Prabhupada, the samadhi means prema. Comparing. And today's so-called yoga practice, what and all various sense pleasures. Yoga means, you see, yoga means they will show the one lady is doing yoga. That's what they do advertisement. Yoga means they think that it is a mundane thing actually. But yoga is not a mundane thing. In China or America, what they are doing yoga? To do more sense gratification. That is the purpose of yoga. But yoga, there are nama here. Yama, niyama, pranayam, pratyahara, do's, don'ts, they don't follow. They will say, why we are doing yoga? Why you are doing yoga? So to keep the body slim and to do all the sinful activity. That's what they want to do yoga. They are not doing yoga to achieve Paramatma. Yes or no? There's so much yoga fashion nowadays. What is the purpose? To become slim and to become more attractive. That's what they want to do. Nothing to do with God. Such yoga is not told by Patanjali system. आपको जो योगा आप कर रहे हो ना, तो पतंजलि का योगा है, आपको क्या लगता है? जो योगा लोग कर रहे पतंजलि योगा है, वो पतंजली नहीं है, वो हठ योगा है जो शिव जी ने पार्वती को बताया। पतंजलि का योगा तो पता ही नहीं है सब कुछ, उसमें तो ये सब कंट्रोलिंग द सेंसेस दिया है। तो जो करंटली योगा कर रहे हो पतंजलि का है ही नहीं। बता रहा हूँ, वो शिव जी ने बताया हठ योगा है। ठीक है, नेक्स्ट, द बेस्ट प्रैक्टिस ऑफ योगा।
The best practice of yoga in this age is Krishna consciousness, which is not baffling. A Krishna conscious person is so happy in this occupation that he does not aspire after any other happiness. There are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practicing Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Dhyan Yoga, and Jnana Yoga. But there is no such problem in executing Karma Yoga or a Bhakti Yoga. Should I continue? As long as the material body exists, one has to meet the demands of the body, namely eating, sleeping, defending, and mating. But a person who is in pure Bhakti Yoga or in Krishna consciousness does not arouse the senses while meeting the demands of the body. Rather, he accepts the bare necessities of life, making the best use of bad bargain and enjoys transcendental happiness in Krishna consciousness. He is callous towards incidental occurrences such as accidents, disease, scarcity, and even the death of a most dear relative. But he is always alert to execute his duties in Krishna consciousness or Bhakti Yoga. Accidents never deviate him from his duty, as stated in the Bhagavad Gita 2.14. Agama payino nityastam tamas titikshwa bharatah. He endures all such incidental occurrences because he knows that they come and go and do not affect his duties. In this way, he achieves the highest perfection in the yoga practice. Hare Krishna.
So Prabhupada is recommending here Karma Yoga, practical yoga, because such yoga is not possible. Such yoga is not possible in Kali Yuga. He says there are many impediments, especially in this age of hypocrisy, to practicing Hatha Yoga, Jnana Yoga and Jnana Yoga. But there is no such a problem in executing Karma Yoga, or the Prabhupada whenever says Karma Yoga means actually Bhakti Yoga. Karma Yoga here is not like some karmi person. Karma Yoga means performing your duty under the guidance of a pure devotee. That is a Karma Yoga. Such a Karma Yoga is actually Bhakti Yoga. We have to have a great respect for such great devotees. Yet we should understand what is my level, and slowly, we don't want to become the great Bhakta. We want to become the servant of great Bhakta. Yes, that is a mentality, yogi mentality, that I also want to become the great devotee so that I will become famous. This is yogi mentality. We want to become the servant of devotee. We want to become the servant of great devotee. Not we want to become great. If anything you want to become great, there is a problem. In bhakti also or outside also. But when you want to become servant, no obstacle, no competition. Of course, not that I want to become number one servant. Insignificant. If you want to become number one servant, there is a problem. Like somewhere some sannyasi come, so many ladies will come. We want to serve. There is so much fight. Then there's what is the devotion here? Where is the question of devotion? You want to become famous? Or I have done good. Cook for the devotees and feed them. No? What is the issue? Okay. Next 20. Now what is that? 24 stroke. 24 to 32. Attaining perfection Ashtanga Yoga. How you attain the perfection Ashtanga Yoga? By realizing the super soul. Samadhi. Do Samadhi on super soul and realize that I am the part and parcel of super soul. So that is covered in this 24 to 32. Okay, who is the next?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat. सनिश्चयेन युक्तत्वो योगो निर्विण्णचेतसा सङ्कल्पप्रभवान् कामांस् त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् शेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रियग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः. One should engage oneself in the practice of yoga with determination and faith, and not to be deviated from the path. One should abandon, without exception, all material desires born of mental speculation, and thus control all the senses of all sides by the mind. Purport. The yoga practitioner should be determined and should patiently prosecute the practice without deviation. One should be sure of success at the end and pursue this course with great perseverance, not becoming discouraged if there is any delay in the attainment of success. Success is sure for the rigid practitioner. Regarding Bhakti Yoga, Rupa Goswami says, Utsaha nishchayat dhairayat tat karma pravantanad sangat त्यागात् सतो वृत्तः शब्दिर भक्तिः प्रसिद्ध्यति. One can execute the process of Bhakti Yoga successfully with full-hearted enthusiasm, perseverance, and determination by following the prescribed duties in the association of devotees and by engaging completely in activities of goodness. Upeda Samsmrita 3. As for determination, one should follow the example of sparrow who lost her eggs in the waves of the ocean. A sparrow laid her eggs on the shore of the ocean, but the big ocean carried away the eggs on its wave. The sparrow became very upset and asked the ocean to return her eggs. The ocean did not even consider her appeal. So the sparrow decided to dry up the ocean. She began to pick out the water in her small beak, and everyone laughed at her for her impossible determination. The news of her activity spread, and at last Garuda, the gigantic bird carrier of Lord Vishnu, heard it. He became compassionate toward his small sister bird, and so he came to see the sparrow. Garuda was very pleased by the determination of the small sparrow, and he promised to help. Thus, Garuda at once asked the ocean to return her eggs, lest he himself take up the work of the sparrow. The ocean was frightened at this and returned the eggs. Thus, the sparrow became happy by the grace of Garuda. Similarly, the practice of yoga, especially bhakti yoga in Krishna consciousness, may appear to be very difficult job. But if anyone follows the principles of great determination, principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help. For God helps those who help themselves. Hare Krishna.
Wow. Prabhupada is encouraging all of us. स निश्चयेन प्रोक्तव्यो योगो निविन्न चेतसा संकल्प प्रभवान कामान त्यक्त्वा सर्वान् अशेषतः मनसैवेन्द्रिय ग्रामं विनियम्य समन्ततः. So this practice is actually Utsayat Nishchad Dhairya. That ठीक है, if sometime you are sitting back, don't get discouraged. Like today you heard the Bhagavatam. How many of you heard the Bhagavatam? You will get very nice punch to practice bhakti with determination. Every lecture we should always take the essence. Don't try to imitate. Anusaran, Anukaran. Anukaran means immediately follow. Anusaran means taking the essence and okay, let me go now one step ahead. One step ahead. Bhakti is always encouraging the people. It is about honesty, hankering for Krishna. Then Krishna will empower you. We have to take one step and then Krishna will take you to 100 steps. So we see Prabhupada's entire Bhagavad Gita is encouraging each and every person. Because this bhakti is from lives and like today Maharaj told na, ki you cannot get out of this material world because of your karma. But if some pure devotee is very happy with you, he will remove it quickly. So that is the secret. That is the secret. The practice of yoga, especially bhakti and Krishna consciousness, may appear to be a very difficult job. But if anyone follows the principles with great determination, the Lord will surely help. Who will help? The Lord will help. And when the Krishna helps you, then it becomes easy. Initially, in any person comes in bhakti, initially Krishna gives so much taste to that person that he keeps chanting Hare Krishna, Hare, like that they do. New people you see. But as soon as you come, he will take away. He says, you struggle now. Like the company of life boy, they will give you one free initially. Once you like, then he said, now you have to purchase. So purchase means you have to earn money. So you have to earn bhakti now. You have to struggle. You have to take association to get that taste. Without taste, it is not able to continue. So we have to struggle for taste. Struggle for the taste. And when you struggle for the taste, Krishna will give the taste. Next sloka, who is there? 25. Shanay Shanay Pramet.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Then let me know.
Shanay.
Neshane Rupramed Buddhyad Iti Prihitya Atma Samastham Mana Kritva Na Kinchit Apichintet. Translation. Gradually, step by step, one should become situated in trance by means of intelligence sustained by full conviction, and thus the mind should be fixed on the self alone and should think of nothing else. Purport. By proper conviction and intelligence, one should gradually cease sense activities. This is called pratyahara. The mind being controlled by conviction, meditation, and cessation from the senses should be situated in trance or samadhi. At that time, there is no longer any danger of becoming engaged in the material conception of life. In other words, although one is involved with matters, as long as the material body exists, one should not think about sense gratification. One should think of no pleasure aside from pleasure of Supreme Self. This state is easily attained by directly practicing Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Great.
Hare Krishna. Where are you? Hare Bhavan. You write her name also. No? So I remember.
Okay. Trinika.
Name is little difficult. Okay. So you will read the next time. Wait. So every day I am going for Janmashtami. Every day I am getting at 12:30. Between by 12. Yesterday also there was Janmashtami. Children are doing nice drama, dance, small children. In a Janmashtami program, most attractive is a cultural program. I will give lecture very short, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, but give the children more time to do the culture activity. Because common people like drama, dance, philosophy. Janmashtami is like, so there you have to do culture more. Prabhupada says you can conquer the whole world by the Krishna conscious culture. Krishna conscious philosophy, culture. So you are also doing some drama for Janmashtami.
What should you do on Janmashtami?
Okay. Are you doing some dramas?
Are you doing
Or in only home you're doing drama every day?
You tell Prabhuji you were wearing
Okay.
gopi dress.
Yeah. Prabhuji, I was wearing gopi dress.
Okay.
And I
But
also
you should know about Gopi also. Where? In Janmashtami?
yes.
Okay.
Where were you?
Now NVCC,
NVCC?
there are so many
I
NVCC,
was
so many, they
Ji
are doing
Prabhuji
lot
at
of
Janmashtami.
in NVCC every day they have so many culture programs. NVCC's name only is New Vedic Cultural Center. So it is actually so many cultural things are happening.
True.
Okay, so Shane, gradually step by step one should become situated in trance. One should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of Supreme Self. This stage is which easily attained by the directly practicing Krishna consciousness. So one should think of no pleasure aside from the pleasure of Supreme Self. So one may say, Are Prabhuji, how it is possible? It is possible. In Bhakti, it is very possible. Because see, when you take the darshan of Lord here, Radha Vrindavan Chandra, if you want to decorate use costly jewelry, use for the deity. When you are using costly jewelry, decoration all the time, decoration, mirror and all, so your all propensities are gone. Some people like very rich food. Yes, you cook rich food to Krishna. One day you will think, I can't eat so much, so you will keep distributing it to other people. So it is like a bhakti. Somebody want to travel now, okay, travel to all dham. There are so many dham in India. You will be exhausted to travel. You said you cannot. Uh, somebody want like big function to go there, sit. Okay, arrange Janmashtami every day. Arrange Janmashtami every week, at least Radhashtami. Arrange so many festivals, Gaunita festival, Dashara festival for your duty. Take your duty, go travel. So in Bhakti Yoga, this becomes very easy to perform. Initially, it will not be. Initially, there is a mixing. But Krishna is so powerful, Bhakti is so powerful that once you start doing, slowly Krishna will take away that mentality. Krishna will take away that mentality. And then, although you may be doing big program, but you will do it for the pleasure of Krishna. Initially, you have pleasure of Krishna and for your own pleasure also. See, मैंने भी कुछ करके दिखा. ठीक है, it's okay. Initially. But after some time, Krishna will give nice realization to you because you are doing his service. Then it becomes his duty to help you. Like book distribution also, initially you think, wow, I can do so many distribution, tack, right? Everybody thinks, we can do kadakat. Once in 2004, I was distributing top books in Kunjibatin. I told, everybody said, इनके टीम में हमें जाना है, इनके टीम में जाना है. तो मुझे देखो, मैं इतना नया हो गया, इतना कर रहा हूँ. One day I went to book distribution. For 6 hours, I was not able to distribute single Bhagavad Gita. I was thinking, what is happening? भगवान एक तो जाने दो, please एक तो जाने दो. Then in end one Bhagavad Gita went. So I took such a great lesson. Next day I said, मेरा कुछ टीम नहीं, मैं एक simple devotee बोला कि मुझे तेरे साथ लेके जाता. भगवान मुझे प्रिपेयर करना चाहते हैं. So I went with this simple devotee. He said, आप मेरे साथ आ, हाँ सर, मुझे तुम्हारे अंडर लेना. Then I cooled down. Last time also, I thought we took 10,000 Bhagavad Gita, arranged nice facility for staying for our brahmacharis in Akola. A 3-story building I arranged in Goshala, newly constructed building. They said, Swamiji, aapke liye. Every floor, I said, every brahmachari gave two rooms. Lila aapke liye. And Gai ka doodh, 300 gir cows were there in that Goshala. But what happened? Till 15 days, we were able to distribute only 500 books. Generally, we distribute in 15 days 5,000. So I thought, Pop, I have brought 10,000 books here. I paid 30,000 rupees for the truck. By taking donation, I took. I said, 30,000 तो मेरा donation लाया है books लाने के लिए. अभी तो book जा ही नहीं रहा. बाप रे बाप. Then I took Gopal Krishna Maharaj photo. I prayed to him, please Maharaj, do some miracle. And immediately then we went to another city and somehow we were able to do 8,500. Gopal Krishna Maharaj ki. So that is actually practical. I prayed to him, what is this? I am doing this for your pleasure, so do something, Maharaj. In Mangala, I was crying and then it happened actually. Katakat. We got nice facility. Then, but books are not going. So therefore, we should not be bothered about the facility too much. If you're too much bothered about the facility, you will not be able to do service. That is my experience. So every time in marathon, I may do a lot of planning, but Krishna will make you stand on my, keep on your elbows only. भाई अपने घुटने टेक के खड़े रहो मेरे सामने. मेरी जो इच्छा मैं वही करूँगा. कितना भी प्लान करेगा ना, कुछ होगा नहीं. भगवान घुटने पे खड़ा करेगा, घुटने पे टोटल. तो इसलिए हम जब भगवान के सेवा में लगते हैं तो भगवान को चिंता होती है, इसको कैसे प्यूरिफाई करना. हमें ज्यादा चिंता उसकी नहीं करना, हमें चिंता करनी कि भगवान की सेवा कैसे करना. भगवान की सेवा, क्या नाम है, भगवान की सेवा हमें कैसे करना है. ठीक. आप लोगों को हंसे रही, भगवान आपको भी घुटने पे हंसे कुछ लोग हंस रहे हैं. चलो. Good that also Krishna gives you nice realization. That is good. Next 26. पढ़ो.
यतो यतो
निश्चलति.
मनश्चञ्चलम् अस्थिरं ततस्ततो नियम्येतद् आत्मने एवावसं नयेत्.
Translation. From whatever the mind wanders due to its flickering and unsteady nature, one must certainly withdraw it and bring it back under the control of the self. Purport. The nature of the mind is flickering and unsteady, but the self-realized yogi has to control the mind. The mind should not control him. One who controls the mind, and therefore the senses as well, is called Goswami or Swami, and one who is controlled by the mind is called Godata or the servant of the senses. A Goswami knows the standard of sense happiness. In transcendental sense happiness, the senses are engaged in the service of Rishikesha or the supreme owner of the senses, Krishna. Serving Krishna with purified senses is called Krishna Consciousness. That's the way of bringing the senses under full control. What is more, that is the highest perfection of yoga practice. Hare Krishna.
Hare. So in everywhere, mind is the most important thing. There's a battle with the mind every time. But one who is have occupational duty, for him least chance, because he has to do his duty. If you are a child, although your mind may be wandering, but child is crying, you have to give him food. And there is no time. Even though mind may wander, but you have to do your duty. So therefore, when you have proper occupational duty, it becomes easy to control the mind. And therefore, Krishna told Arjuna that you keep fighting. If you stop fighting, your mind will go crazy. So Prabhupada always translates Karma Yoga as a Bhakti Yoga. Performing services in Krishna's place. That's all. Next. Prashantamanasam yenam. Who is there?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prashantamanasam yenam yoginam sukhamuttamam upayati shantarajasam brahma bhutam kalmasham. Translation. The yogi whose mind is fixed on me verily attains the highest perfection of transcendental happiness. He is beyond the mode of passion. He realizes his qualitative identity with the Supreme, and thus he is freed from all reactions to past deeds. Purport. Brahma Bhuta is the state of being free from material contamination and situated in the transcendental service of the Lord. Mad Bhaktim Lavate Param. Bhagavad Gita 18.54. One cannot remain in the quality of Brahman, the Absolute, until one's mind is fixed on the lotus feet of the Lord. Savai Mana Krishna Padaravindev. To be always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord or to remain in Krishna consciousness is to be factually liberated from the mode of passion and all material contamination. Hare Krishna.
Prabhupada again said, Savay Mana Krishna Padaravindayo. To be always engaged in the transcendental living of the Lord or to remain Krishna conscious is to actually liberate him from the modes of passion. See, कभी कभी आप लोग 64 राउंड करने का ट्राई कीजिए. कितने लोगों ने किया ट्राई 64 या 128? कितना मुश्किल हो जाए. और कभी कभी आप टायर्ड हो जाओगे. माउथ विल बिकम ड्राई आल्सो. मैंने भी बहुत ट्राई किया है 64 राउंड करने का. बट मैंने बीच में क्या किया फिर ओके आई विल रीड फॉर 30 मिनट्स अबाउट आचार्य, 30 मिनट प्रे, 30 मिनट सिंग सम वैष्णव सॉन्ग, देन चैंटिंग बिकम्स वेरी इजी. आप ऑब्जर्व कीजिए. नहीं तो मैकेनिकली कितना करेंगे तो माउथ ड्राई हो जाता है, माइंड ज्यादा पागल हो जाता है, एजिटेट मैड हो सकता है, मैड आर्टिफिशियल करने से. तो इट इज अ स्टेप बाय स्टेप. हाँ, इफ यू हियर 3 आवर्स भागवत कथा फॉर अ वेरी नाइस ड्यूटी, यू विल फील वेरी एनलाइवन्ड. बोर नहीं होगा. माइंड टायर्ड नहीं होगा आपका। हाँ, बॉडी टायर्ड हो सकता है तो चेयर पे बैठ के सुनिए, लेकिन मेंटल शक्ति कितना बढ़ता है देखिए, टायर्डनेस नहीं आएगा। जैसे आज आपने महाराज का भागवतम क्लास सुना तो कितना एंथुसियाज्म बढ़ गया मेरा खुद का। यस, भक्ति करनी, स्ट्रांगली करनी, साधना करनी। ऑफकोर्स इमीडिएटली मैं कल अभी रात भर नहीं जग सकता, महाराज के नहीं बोला तो मैं वो करूंगा नहीं। तो एटलीस्ट मैं क्या करूंगा, दिन में एकदम पक्का, नो बजल्पा, नो टाइम वेस्टिंग, चैंटिंग, रीडिंग, हियरिंग और डूइंग सम सर्विस, स्लोली स्लोली। उससे शक्ति बढ़ती, उससे शक्ति। लेकिन स्ट्रॉन्ग सुनना तो चाहिए, हमको समझना चाहिए कि स्टैंडर्ड बहुत हाई प्योर डिवोशन, हमें वो जाना है। एटलीस्ट वो सुनने से हृदय प्योरीफाई होता। क्या होता है हृदय? जितना हम शुद्ध भक्ति के बारे में सुनते बैठेंगे उतना हमारा हार्ट एनलाइवन होता है भक्ति करने के लिए। और क्या होती है, शक्ति बढ़ जाती है। क्योंकि भक्ति करने की शक्ति बढ़ाना यह हमारा प्रचारक का कर्तव्य है कि लोगों के हृदय में क्या करना चाहिए, भक्ति करने की शक्ति। यस, मुझे भी करना है, भले वो व्यक्ति कितना स्ट्रगल कर रहा हूँ ये वो, लेकिन प्रवचन वाला ऐसा उसको लगना चाहिए कि यार मुझे भी करनी है, बस बस हो गया। दिस इज द पॉजिटिव थिंग। एवरी टाइम यू थिंक नाउ आई वांट टू, आप लोग बोलेंगे कितने बार आप सोचते अभी मुझे बस करा नहीं, मुझे भक्ति अच्छे से करना है, ऐसे कितने बार करते रहते हैं हम, करते कि नहीं? सच बोलना, हर दिन हम करते, वो पॉजिटिव साइड है। ऐसा मत सोचना यार क्या मैं मूर्ख आदमी हूँ, हर दिन बोलता हूँ अभी स्ट्रॉन्ग करना है। माया वैसी है ना, करोड़ों सालों से जीवात्मा को पकड़ के रखा है, एटलीस्ट उसको डिजायर है कि अभी बस हो गया, अभी मुझे और करना है। वो पॉजिटिव साइड है, वो क्या है, वो नेगेटिव नहीं है। क्योंकि माया ने किसी को भी चुगल में फंसा सकती, ब्रह्मा जी का तो हम कौन है, सोचिए आप। तो इसलिए विचार भी आया ना, विचार कि बस अभी मुझे लिबरेट होना है, मुझे सेंस एलिमेंट के ऊपर जाना है, वो भी पॉजिटिव है। भगवान देखेंगे वाह वाह, अच्छा अच्छा, भले शाबाश, गुड गुड, अच्छा थॉट है इसको, और उनको भगवान को अच्छा लगेगा इसको थॉट तो आ रहा है। नहीं तो गिव अप करने में कितने बड़ी बात लगती है, एनीबॉडी कैन गिव अप, है ना, एवरी पर्सन हैज गिवन अप ओनली, है ना। बट गुरु क्या कहते हैं, गिव अप मत करो, गिव अप मत करो, करेक्ट, बने रहो बने रहो। तो इसलिए भगवान को महान भक्त प्रिय क्यों होते हैं, क्योंकि लोगों के हृदय में वो ये आशा जगाते कि तू भी प्रैक्टिस कर सकता है। ऐसा नहीं कि केवल एक व्यक्ति जो वैराग्य वो कर सकता है, यू कैन ऑल्सो प्रैक्टिस द डिवोशन, यू कैन ऑल्सो प्लीज मी, यू कैन ऑल्सो कम टू। इसलिए तो प्रभुपाद जी को सबको प्रिय क्यों है कि जिसके भी टच में जाते थे उसके हृदय में एक शुद्ध भक्ति की ज्योत हो जगाते। नेक्स्ट,
हरे
एक मिनट
कृष्ण।
आपको थोड़ा ब्रेक लीजिए, ब्रेक 5 मिनट पानी पीजिए, ठीक है। अरे
हरे कृष्ण।
हम्म। Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Welcome back. Which shloka? Who is supposed to read next?
Yes, Suresh. Ready. Slok number 28. युजनेवं सदात्मानं योगी विगत कल्मष सुखेन ब्रह्म संस्पर्शम अत्यंतं सुखम अश्नुते. Translation. Thus the self-control yogi, constantly engaged in yoga practices, becomes free from all material contamination and achieves the highest stage of perfect happiness in transcendental loving service to the Lord. Purport. Self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relationship to the Supreme. The individual soul is part and parcel of the Lord, and his position is to render transcendental service to the Lord. This transcendental contact with the Supreme is called Brahma Sparsha.
Okay.
रुचि 27 पढ़ा क्या हमने?
28.
नहीं 27 यतो के बाद
हो गया
या
प्रभु जी?
missed it? हो गया.
हो गया.
Okay, sorry प्रभु जी.
Okay, so यहाँ पे Prabhupada again is saying that self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relation to the Supreme. Hiranyakashipu also performed so much austerity, but it has no value. 10,000 years he did, but it is not in relationship with Krishna. That is for his own sense gratification. Prahlad, he did not do any austerity, but he is only remembering Krishna for the pleasure of Krishna. So Prabhupada's every word is important. Prabhupada says self-realization means knowing one's constitutional position in relation to Krishna as a servant, not as a master or to become the yogi. The austerity which has no connection to Krishna has no value. Therefore, austerity is not our goal. To become the servant, to develop that consciousness, Okay, next sloka. Sarva Bhuta.
Hare Krishna. सर्वभूतास्तात्मनः सर्वभूतात्मनि ईक्षते योगयुक्तात्मा सर्वत्र समदर्शनः. A true yogi observes me in all being and also sees every being in me. Indeed, the self-realized person sees me and the same Supreme Lord everywhere. Purport. A Krishna conscious yogi is the perfect seer because he sees Krishna, the Supreme, situated in everyone's heart as super soul Paramatma. Ishvara Sarva Bhutatma Hridayeshu Arjuna Tisthati. The Lord is in his Paramatma feature is situated within both the heart of a dog and that of a Brahmana. The perfect yogi knows that the Lord is eternally transcendental and is not materially affected by his presence in either a dog or a Brahmana. That is the supreme neutrality of the Lord. The individual soul is also situated in the individual heart, but he is not present in all the hearts. That is the distinction between the individual soul and the super soul. One who is not factually in the practice of yoga cannot see so clearly. A Krishna conscious person can see Krishna in the heart of both the believer and the non-believer. In the Smriti, this is confirmed as follows: Atatva cha matrivacha cha atmahi hi paramo harihi. The Lord, being the source of all being, is like the mother and the maintainer. As the mother is neutral to all different kinds of children, the supreme father or mother is also. Consequently, the super soul is also in every living being. Outwardly also, every living being is situated in the energy of Lord. As will be explained in the 7th chapter, the Lord has primarily two energies, the spiritual or superior and the material or inferior. The living entity, although part of the superior energy, is conditioned by the inferior energy. The living entity is always in the Lord's energy. Every living entity is situated in Him in one way or another. The yogi sees equally because he sees that all the living entity, although in different situations, according to the result of the fruitive work, in all circumstances, remain the servant of Lord. While in the material energy, the living entity serves the material senses, and while in the spiritual energy, he serves the Supreme Lord directly. In either way, the living entity is the servant of God. This vision of equality is perfect in the person in Krishna consciousness.
Even if somebody is not devotee of Krishna, still he has also depend on Krishna only. Outwardly also every living entity is situated in the energy of Lord only. And the 7th chapter, the Lord has primary two energy, the spiritual and the material. Without Krishna's sanction, not will. Without Krishna's sanction, nothing can happen. Even if somebody is committing some crime, Krishna has to give sanction. Although he doesn't want. Without his sanction, nothing can happen. All the food you eat, the air, water, light, everything is mad bhayat vati vato yam surya tapati mad bhayat varshati indra. So the sun is moving, rain is coming because of the Krishna's arrangement. So the rain is Krishna is giving rain to atheists also. He is what to do? He is the father. So therefore, either you depend on indirectly or directly. Like one may say that when you envy somebody, you are doing indirect glorification of that person. Why not you do the direct glorification? Why you become envy of him? Envy is nothing but indirect glorification. Similarly, you depend on Krishna directly. Indirectly, you are depending on him only through energy. But you are saying, no, Krishna doesn't exist. He exists. Through his energy, any intelligent person can understand God exists. Without God, why people are getting oxygen free, sunlight free? Nobody has any control on it. And when there's little change in the nature, everything is collapsed. So any sane person, intelligent person, will always come to the conclusion that the Supreme God exists. Supreme God exists. This conclusion anybody can easily understand. There is nothing very big deal about it. Next. Yomam.
यो मां पश्यति सर्वत्र सर्वं च मयि पश्यति सस्याहं तस्याहं न प्रणश्यामि स च मे न pranashyati. Translation: For one who sees me everywhere and sees everything in me, I am never lost, nor is he ever lost to me. Purport: A person in Krishna consciousness certainly sees Lord Krishna everywhere, and he sees everything in Krishna. Such a person may appear to see all separate manifestations of the material nature, but in each and every instance he is conscious of Krishna, knowing that everything is a manifestation of Krishna's energy. Nothing can exist without Krishna, and Krishna is the Lord of everything. This is the basic principle of Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is the development of love of Krishna, a position transcendental even to the material liberation. At this stage of Krishna consciousness, beyond self-realization, the devotee becomes one with Krishna in the sense that Krishna becomes everything for the devotee, and the devotee becomes full in loving Krishna. An intimate relationship between the Lord and the devotee then exists. In that stage, the living entity can never be annihilated, nor is he personality of the Godhead ever out of the sight of the devotee. To merge in Krishna is a spiritual annihilation. A devotee takes no such risk It is stated in the Brahma Samhita 5.38. Premanjana Churita Bhakti Vilochanena Santa Sadeva Hridayeshu Vilokayanti Yam Shama Sundara Chinta Guna Swarupam Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. I worship the premier Lord Govinda, who is always seen by the devotees, whose eyes are anointed with the pulp of love. He is seen in his eternal form of Shamsundar, situated within the heart of the devotee. At this stage, Lord Krishna never disappears from the sight of the devotee, nor does the devotee ever lose sight of the Lord. In the case of a yogi who sees the Lord as Paramatma within the heart, the same applies. Such a yogi turns into a pure devotee and cannot bear to live for a moment without seeing the Lord within himself. Hare Krishna.
Hare. We will go next. 31. Sarva Bhuta.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
हाँ.
Sarvabhutastham
No, continue.
Sarvabhutastham yo mam bhajati egatvam sarvada vartamanopi sa yogi mai vartate. Translation: such a yogi who engages in the worshipful service of the Super Soul, knowing that I and the Super Soul are one, remains always in me in all circumstances. Purport: a yogi who is practicing meditation on the Super Soul sees within himself the plenary portion of Krishna as Vishnu, with four hands, holding conch shell, wheel, club, and the lotus flower. The yogi should know that Vishnu is not different from Krishna. Krishna in this form of Super Soul is situated in everyone's heart. Furthermore, there is no difference between the innumerable super souls present in the innumerable hearts of the living entities. Nor is there a difference between a Krishna consciousness person always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation on the super soul. The yogi in Krishna consciousness, even though he may be engaged in various activities while in material existence, remains always situated in Krishna. This is confirmed in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu 1.2.187 of Srila Rupa Goswami. Nikilashva abhi avastashu jivan mukta sa uchyate. A devotee of the Lord, always acting in Krishna consciousness, is automatically liberated. In the Narada Panjaratra, this is confirmed in this way. दिक्कलादि अनवाचिन्ने कृष्णे चेतो विदाय च तन्मयो भवति क्षिप्रं जीवो ब्राह्मणि योजयेत्. By concentrating one's attention on the transcendental form of Krishna, who is all pervading and beyond time and space, one becomes absorbed in thinking of Krishna and then attains the happy state of transcendental association with him. Krishna consciousness is the highest stage of trance in yoga practice. This very understanding that Krishna is present as Paramatma in everyone's heart makes the yogi faultless. The Vedas Gopala Tapani Upanishad 1.21 confirms this inconceivable potency of the Lord as follows. Ego bisan bahudayo babadi. Although the Lord is one, he is present in innumerable hearts as many. Similarly, in the Smriti Shastra, it is said that Ega evo paro Vishnu sarva vyabhina samshaya aishwarya drupam ekam cha surya vad bahudeyate. Vishnu is one and yet he is certainly all pervading. By his inconceivable potency, in spite of his one form, he is present everywhere as the sun appears in many places at once. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Purposes. There is no difference between the innumerable super souls present in the innumerable living hearts of the living entity, nor there is a difference between a Krishna conscious person always engaged in the transcendental loving service of Krishna and a perfect yogi engaged in meditation of the super soul. Yes, the yogis or jnani yogis, hatha yogis, they are trying to meditate and like Prabhupada or like Arjuna, he is doing his duty, remembering Krishna. So Prabhupada is saying that such a devotee who is sincerely engaged in serving Krishna, there is no difference between him and some Hadi yogi In fact, such a devotee is higher than that person because there is always a chance of fall for such yogi. But because the Krishna's devotee is always depending on Krishna, Krishna is there to protect him. Ananya Chintayantu Mam Yajana Pariyupas. And in fact, Goswami says, Nikhilapi Avastha, so Jivana Mukta Savachari. Such a people say, Naki, when will go Godhead, and Bhagwan ke sam kab jayenge. So Goswami says, Nikhilapi Avastha, so Jivana Mukta se uchyate. Ihaya se Hare Das se Karmana Manasa Gira. One who is kept himself engaged in Krishna's service by Karma, Manasa, Gira. He is actually liberated. He is living for the service of Krishna. He is not bothered like Prahlad Maharaj said, Tadvir Yagayana Katam Damagna Chitta Soche Tata Vimagajeta Saindriyartha Maya Dugaya Varamudbhato Vimuna. For me, I don't have any problem. Tadvir Yagayana Katam Chitta. And the Leela of the Lord, the Leela of devotees are so nectarine. If somebody speaks about it very sincerely, whole day you can hear. Of course, I am not saying that you have to be fasting, sitting down. Take chair, take proper prasad, keep hearing about Krishna. Take whatever you needed, keep hearing. Hearing about Krishna is important, rather than the so-called austerities. Therefore, Mahaprabhu says, "Iho bhaiya aage ka sarva dharman parityaja." Mahaprabhu said, "No, out." Stane chitam sajikatam tanuvama bhir jivan disanma garita bhavadiya varta. Wherever you are, you develop the taste to hear about Krishna, hear about the pure devotees of Krishna. All that is the key. Artificially, one cannot do any renunciation or austerity. Even artificially, you cannot chant 120 years. Your mouth will be dry. You will be tired. It is not a mechanical process. It is not a mechanical process. So therefore, you have to hear first how Krishna is so merciful. Adbhuta Karuna Sindhu. How Prabhupada is Karuna Sindhu. And then you will develop eager, yes, I want to chant. Because Prabhupada is saying chant, yes, I want to hear about Krishna. Then it is like a juice. It's like a juice. Next. Next, who is there?
Should I read 27?
Yes. I think this 20, 26, 30, 20, where are these devotees? Okay, you can read, Mataji. You can read. Please.
आत्मौपम्येन सर्वत्र समं पश्यति यो अर्जुन सुखं वा यदि वा दुःखं स योगी परमो मतः. Translation: He is a perfect yogi who, by comparison to his own self, sees the true equality of all beings in both their happiness and their distress. O Arjuna. Purport: One who is Krishna conscious is a perfect yogi. He is aware of everyone's happiness and distress by dint of his own personal experience. The cause of the distress of a living entity is forgetfulness of his relationship with God, and the cause of happiness is knowing Krishna to be the supreme enjoyer of all activities of the human being, the proprietor of all lands and planets, and the sincerest friend of all living entities. The perfect yogi knows that the living beings who is conditioned by the mode of material nature is subjected to the threefold material miseries due to forgetfulness of his relationship with Krishna. And because one in Krishna conscious is happy, he tries to distribute the knowledge of Krishna everywhere. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world and he is the dearest servitor of the Lord. Nacha tasman manusyesu kashchit me priya kritama. Bhagavad Gita 18.69. In other words, a devotee of the Lord is Lord always looks to the welfare of all living entities, and in this way, he is factually the friend of everyone. He is the best yogi because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit, but tries for others also. He does not envy his fellow living entities. Here is a contrast between a pure devotee of the Lord and a yogi interested only in his personal elevation. The yogi who has withdrawn to a secluded place in order to meditate perfectly may not be as perfect as a devotee who tries his best to turn every man towards Krishna consciousness. Hare Krishna.
Hmm. Since the perfect yogi tries to broadcast the importance of becoming Krishna conscious, he is the best philanthropist in the world, and he is the dearest servant of the Lord. It will come in 18.69. In other words, a devotee of the Lord always looks to be the welfare of all living entities, and in this way, he is practically the friend of everyone. He is the best yogi because he does not desire perfection in yoga for his personal benefit. Again, the same thing is coming. Why we are not promoting people to become yogi siddhi? Because this Mahaprabhu says now, Sakale Ashant, Krishna Bhakta Nishkam Ateva Shant. As soon as you have some desire for you, you become Ashant. And when you only desire for Krishna, you become Shant. So such a yogi is a perfect who only desires for Krishna and desires for the welfare of all people and tries for them by making them Krishna conscious. He does not envy his fellow living entities. He is the contrast between a pure devotee of the Lord and a yogi. And this is a contrast. So about a yogi and a devotee. So therefore devotee is called as the perfected yogi. Devotee is called as a perfected yogi. Next. Now Arjuna will ask the question. Very important question. That I can't practice this bhakti yoga. Okay, who is there supposed to remember? Mahavan Prabhu, are you there? Virjanand Prabhu, are you there? The video is off. Chaitanya Gajar Prabhu, are you there?
Yes, Prabhuji, I already read.
Virjanand Prabhu, you want to read?
I am done, Prabhuji. I already done. Actually read. So, do you want me to read again?
Can I read, Prabhuji? Santosh.
Santosh Prabhu, you read.
Arjuna Uvacha Yoyam yogastvaya prokta samena madhusudana etasyam na pashyami chanchala chanchala chanchal vasthitam sthiram. Arjuna said, O Madhusudana, the system of yoga which you have summarized appears impractical and endurable to me, for the mind is restless and unsteady. Purport. The system of mysticism described by Lord Krishna to Arjuna, beginning with the words Sucha Deshe and ending with Yogi Paramah, is here being rejected by Arjuna out of a feeling of inability. It is not possible for an ordinary man to leave home and go to a secluded place in the mountains or jungles to practice yoga in this age of Kali. The present age is characterized by a bitter struggle for a life of short duration. People are not serious about self-realization even by simple practical means, and what to speak of this difficult yoga system which regulates the mode of living, the manner of sitting, selection of place, and detachment of the mind from material engagements. As a practical man, Arjuna thought it was impossible to follow this system of yoga, even though he was favorably endowed in many ways. He belonged to the royal family and was highly elevated in terms of numerous qualities. He was a great warrior, he had great longevity, and above all, he was the most intimate friend of Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. 5,000 years ago, Arjuna had much better facilities than we do now. Yet he refused to accept this system of yoga. In fact, we do not find any record in history of his practicing it at any time. Therefore, the system must be considered generally impossible in this age of Kali. Of course, it may be possible for some very few rare men, but for the people in general, it is an impossible proposal. If this were so 5,000 years ago, then what of the present day? Those who are imitating this yoga system in different so-called schools and societies, although complacent, are certainly wasting their time. They are completely in ignorance of the desired goal.
So here, these two slokas, Arjuna is talking about the impracticality of the Ashtanga Yoga. Of course, Prabhupada has given all the purpose Bhakti Yoga. And some people say, why did Swami Prabhupada ji always give purport of Bhakti? Arjuna is already telling that I cannot practice this Dhyana Yoga. 5,000 years before, now how can you practice? So therefore Prabhupada is doing perfect purpose of Bhakti Yoga. Because the entire Bhagavad Gita is for the purpose of what? Bhakti Yoga. Not for imitating false things. Bhakti Yoga is what? Simplicity. Doing what you can do for the pleasure of Krishna. Not trying to do something which you are not. That is not Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is as simple. Krishna says, whatever you have, you give to me devotion. Whatever skill, talent, whatever you have. So therefore Prabhupada says, and therefore he is giving such purpose. Because Arjuna says, I can't do it. So how can somebody do it? He cannot. Okay. So any question till now? This is very practical chapter because all the purposes are very relevant for us. For practicing our Bhakti Yoga very nice. Therefore, Dhyana Yoga, I like this chapter a lot. Sometimes using Dhyana Yoga, you can do some preaching for secular people. I always use slokas in the schools because they are very practical also and people are struggling with the mind, senses and all those things. Any question till now? Till 33. We have covered till 33. Now few slokas are remaining. After that, this chapter is over. Tomorrow I will not able to give class. Tomorrow is I have a lot of Janmashtami, Janmashtami. So therefore we'll meet on next Saturday. Next Saturday we'll complete this chapter. How much time you need for exam? Sunday we can have exam. Okay. Sloka test. Sloka test. Sunday or next time? Next Saturday, Sunday. Sunday break.
Next time.
Take a Sunday, break your head. Not break your head. Put your head into the Bhagavad Gita. Nice thing. I think next Sunday you can take holiday. Next to next Sunday you can have sloka test. I will check with the organizer. And after that you can have closed book and open book so that you get sufficient time. Sloka, I think you should not be bothered. How many slokas are there? Not many, no? Anybody knows?
12 or 13 Prabhuji.
How many are? 30? No. How many
12.
slokas are?
12 slokas.
12.
12.
12. Yeah, 12.
So 12 is not a big deal. So you start preparing for today only. Tomorrow 2 hours you should recite the sloka. The time I have given you. So next Saturday, Sunday we can, not Saturday, Sunday. This Sunday also you can recite. Next Sunday also you can practice. And next Saturday, Sunday we'll complete the sloka test. Okay. I will call like 10 devotees like that in a slot. Okay. Any suggestion आपका? कोई suggestion है श्लोका टेस्ट कैसे लेना? हमने ईशोपनिषद का कैसे लिया था? I only took no for all of you.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Oh,
Prabhuji.
I took Saturday, Sunday or other day?
Saturday only.
Saturday
It is
only.
Saturday, Sunday only.
Okay, in groups only we called, na? 1 to 10, 1 to 10.
That time, at a time only you to call. One day only all of us gave test.
Okay, but Bhagavad Gita will be more actually. 12
Right.
slokas are there, na? 12.
Yes, yes.
Correct.
So we need today. So is it okay then we take the sloka text next to next Saturday, Sunday? Okay? Means which dates
Okay.
are. Let me see the calendar 1 minute. Today is 23rd, 29th, 30, like 5 and 6. 6 and 7 of June, July, September. Correct? 6 and 7 September. So you are also getting time, so I will also check with the primary teacher what he says. Mostly he will be agree. Correct? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Srila Prabhupada की भगवद गीता की जय। वांछा कल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव भक्तवृंद की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। Hare.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Dandavat Prabhuji.
So tomorrow you can celebrate Janmashtami. किसी ने कुछ कहा था क्या? नहीं ना, ठीक है। हरे